Hey folks, so in this video I'm going to walk you through how to set up your Circuit Playground when you first pull it out of the box. So if you've ordered my kit or if you buy a Circuit Playground from the Adafruit website, more than likely you're going to plug it in with the USB and it's going to do some sort of like light reel, maybe it'll flash some lights, who knows. What you want to do is you want to get the thing into the bootloader mode. And so there are three buttons on the top. A and B are the big ones that you can kind of click, and they don't do anything right now because it's not in the software. And then there's a middle button called and it actually says reset above it, and it's kind of a tiny button. But if you hold it down or double tap it, it kind of depends. On mine, I think it looks like if I double tap it, no, that didn't work. Let me try it again. There we go. You're going to get all green lights. And then what you're going to do, I'm going to open up my Finder, and then I guess I'm going to switch my viewport so you can see. So now you can see my screen. If you look over here, I've got C Play Boot mounted. So when you double tap and put it in boot mode or the bootloader mode, all the lights will turn green, and you can put this thing in boot mode. So then what you want to do is you want to go to circuitpython.org and you want to go to downloads and you want to look for the Circuit Playground Express. And then at the time of me writing this or making this video, CircuitPython 6.1.0 was out. So I'm going to download the UF2 for this, and it's going to download a UF2 to my computer. So if I go back to my Finder and I just put this on the left and open up a new, actually this isn't Finder, this is, well, Files. I think it's Nautilus. Anyway, if I go to my desktop where everything's downloaded, here's that UF2. If I try to double click it, it's going to say like, I have no idea what this is. And I'm just going to say, okay, you don't need to open it. It doesn't matter. What you need to do is drag the file to your C Play boot drive. And what you'll notice is that the Circuit Playground will do a bunch of crazy stuff. And then what will happen is that you will get a CircuitPy drive mounted. So the C Play boot drive will go away, and what's left is CircuitPy. At this point, what you need to do is you need to go to download not music, I'm sorry, autocomplete. And you want to, Mu is basically an integrated development environment that you can use to code on some some CircuitPython devices. There is a Windows installer, a Mac installer. You can run it portably. You can do Python packages. Python actually works for everything. I'm on Linux, and so I just had to do it the Python way, so I did pip3 install mu editor, and then I can just open mu editor from terminal. If you're on a Windows, you need to make sure you're 32 or 64-bit. There's also instructions. Mac, same thing. There's some instructions. I strongly recommend reading these instructions. You might think you know what you're doing, but it turns out, I mean, I don't think everybody knows everything. Even for the Mac users, there's some like, hey, don't double click the mu editor, like you need to control click it. So there's some interesting things that you can learn just by reading the instructions. So I strongly recommend that. Like I said, I was on, what's it called? I'm on Linux, so I have to open a terminal, and I have to do pip3 install mu editor. I unfortunately installed it with root privileges, so once I have it installed, I can open it. Just using mu editor, but I have to do the sudo and type in my password, and it opens mu editor. The first time you open mu editor, you're going to go to mode, and you need to make sure that you click Adafruit CircuitPython and then click OK. In the main script, your main script is probably just going to have this. It's going to say hello world in it, and I'm going to save that. And you'll notice the Circuit Playground isn't doing anything, and you think that nothing's happening. Well, if you hit the serial monitor, you'll see that it says auto reload is on. Simply save files over USB to run them or enter REPL to disable. You can press any key to enter the REPL. The REPL is a way to communicate with the Circuit Playground, but I don't want to communicate with it. I just want to run the code. So if you hit Control D to reload, so I'm going to hit Control D, it's going to reload, and it's going to say main.py output hello world, code done running. Now this isn't a very interesting code, so I'm going to import time, which basically allows me to keep track of time. I'm going to create a while true statement, and this is basically going to run forever. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say print time.monotonic, time monotonic, and then I'm going to time.sleep for 0.1 seconds. And so now when I look in the serial monitor, it's printing the current time. So this is kind of convenient because I can print the time here. If you go to my GitHub, so if you go to my, oh, that's not GitHub, github.com, and you go to my Python repo, and you go to, sorry, not Python, wrong repo, and you go to microcontrollers, and then you go to Circuit Playground, and then Circuit Python, there are a ton of codes that I have that you can kind of work with and see if they work. For the first assignment, I recommend just doing the Blink code here. This is a pretty simple code. You import board, you import digital I/O, you import time, you create an LED object on board D13, you set the direction to output, and then you make a while true statement which runs forever, and you print the time like we did before, and then you turn the LED on, you wait 5 seconds to turn it off, wait 5 seconds, turn it on, wait a tenth of a second, turn it off, wait a tenth of a second, and then you turn it back on. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to run over here, and now we have to talk about one thing. If you look at your CircuitPy drive, you'll notice that there's one file in here called main.py. And if I double click this and open it up, this is the code that's running on here. If I type in import board and hit save, and it still runs, importing board did nothing. If I come back over here to my CircuitPy drive and double click it, you'll notice that board is now there because Mu basically wrote that file to the USB drive. Now here's the difficult thing. If I create a new file in here, like say I like copy and paste this or something and make a new file, it will only run one Python script. So what I typically do is I create a folder, and I can show you here, documents, Git repos, GitHub, microcontrollers, Circuit Playground, Circuit Python. These are all of my codes that I can use and I can put on CircuitPy. Now the CircuitPy can only run main.py. So if I take blink.py and copy it, so if I copy this and it won't let me paste it. Yeah, I think there's some write issues here. Let me unmount this real quick and then unplug it and then plug it back in and see if that fixes that. Okay. No, it's not letting me do that. That's but see, the weird thing is I can still save this media. Okay, so maybe that's not happening on your computer. Who knows? Perhaps it's because I'm using. Oh, it's probably because I'm using root privileges in Mu. My point is the takeaway that I want you to have from here is that you can only have main.py running. So typically, what I do is if I want to put a new code in here, what I'll do is I'll load a new tab, and so here's GitHub. Let's see, microcontrollers, Circuit Playground, Circuit Python. Let's see, and then where's the blink code? So here's the blink.py. So if you look here, I've got the blink.py tab open. I've got main.py open. I can't just save blink.py to the Circuit Playground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control C this. I'm going to copy the whole thing, and I'm going to delete everything in main.py and paste the new blink code and hit save. I'm going to close and open the REPL just to make sure it's working. And then if I, let's hit Alt-1 and then come back over to OBS, you should see the CircuitPy is blinking exactly how I had it in the code. So I think that's it. There you have it. I mean, that is plugging it in, downloading the UF2 file, throwing it onto your Circuit Playground, and then loading different code, and then loading it onto here, with the caveat again that you can only use main.py. Okay. Hopefully that was informative and helpful, and I guess I will see y'all in the next video.